Do you notice that you keep ending up in the same unwanted scenario? When you get into this type of scenario, it feels like you're caught in a nightmare version of Groundhog's Day. You may feel like the universe is against you. You may not understand why it is you deserve to be in the exact same situation yet again. It's the person who keeps ending up in relationships where they're expected to compromise, finding their way into a new relationship where their new partner expects them to compromise. It's the person whose house burnt down experiencing yet another house fire. It's the person who is cheated on being cheated on again, and again, and again. It's the person who is rejected being rejected again. It's the person who keeps finding themselves in situations where they don't belong and aren't compatible, making a choice for a new situation only to find out that they don't belong and are not compatible again. It's the person who has lost someone they love, losing someone they love again. It's the person who has PTSD because of a certain experience, ending up in a similar experience yet again. It's the person whose emotions were not acknowledged, finding their way into a relationship where their emotions are not acknowledged again. It's the person whose life was ruined by being triangulated against, getting into a conflict where they're triangulated against again. It's the person who gets really sick, gets over it, only to get really sick again. It's true that we don't often recognize the thoughts, the words, the actions that keep bringing about the very thing that is unwanted in our life. It's true that we unconsciously, unwittingly, and unknowingly bring these things into our life. We're not intentionally doing this. It's an unintentional process. It's also true that we live in a universe based off of the law of mirroring, which is often called the law of attraction, and that plays a hand in this dynamic as well. But there's also a more benevolent and higher purpose for unwanted things returning in your life. This universe values expansion, and expansion implies change. That means that the universe is actually in favor of patterns not repeating, but changing instead. But I'm going to ask you a question. How can the universe change a pattern without first bringing up that same pattern so as to be able to change it? Free will is an absolute of your existence. And the universe would never dare to take that away from you, or itself, you see. You are a fragment of the greater universe at large, and free will is a characteristic of the totality of energy that makes up the universe, including you. So, the universe at large, what we call objective consciousness, could not take free will away from you if it tried. That means for a pattern to change, you must make a different choice. The universe, as you, will put you in a repeat scenario, meaning you're in the same situation again, same pattern again, so as to give you an opportunity to do something different, to think something different, to say something different, to make a different decision, so as to change that pattern once and for all. And universally speaking, this is considered to be resolve. One of the reasons that awareness is so incredibly important is that with new awareness and with different information, all people would make a different choice. When we gain information about ourselves, about other things, and about the situations we are in themselves, we're in a place to see more clearly what different choices we need to make and what different things we need to do in order to change a pattern so that it does not repeat. And this is the process of each person awakening to their own empowerment as a conscious, intentional creator. In order to truly empower you and in order to genuinely change a pattern, the universe can't just get what it is you don't want and therefore get what it is you do want and provide that to you, regardless of what you might be thinking, saying, deciding, or doing that is bringing that unwanted experience about. If it were to do that, it would constantly be fighting against you. That means it would constantly be fighting against itself. That doesn't do. If you feel like the universe is against you at the moment, if you find yourself in one of these repeat scenarios, you may benefit by watching my video titled, "I Can't Trust the Universe, I Feel Like God is Against Me." When you find yourself in one of these repeat scenarios, especially the dreaded ones, I totally understand that it feels like the universe is against you. No one's like, oh my God, the universe loves me, and so it's put me in the same situation again. The thing is, it's important to understand the universe is not against you when this is happening. Instead, it is powerfully for you. It is dredging up an opportunity for you to make a different choice and to do something different so that that pattern, which has affected you your whole life potentially, actually finally changes. Everything that you decide and everything you do is essentially a vote. Every action you take, every word you speak, everything is a vote for the future that you are going to live into, the one you want to live into. If a pattern repeats in your life, then the universe is getting you to ask one question. You ready for that question? What is the universe wanting me to decide and do different this time than I did the last times? So, this is what you're going to do. Identify what the repeat scenario is. Then, identify what you decided and did last time, both to contribute to bringing it about in the first place, as well as what you decided and did in response to it last time. Did deciding and doing those things bring about what you wanted? If not, why did they not? What do you actually want in this scenario? What is your vote? Then identify what different thing you could decide or do so as to bring about what you want, or that would serve as a vote for what you want with your thoughts, words, and actions. Then follow through. For example, Jason was raised in an environment where he wasn't actually wanted, he wasn't actually valued. In fact, his parents wanted a different kind of kid. Ending up in relationships where Jason is simply tolerated, where he's not really wanted and he's not really valued, is a repeat pattern he keeps finding himself into. Most importantly, he keeps ending up in adult relationships with partners, specifically women, who end up inevitably wanting a different kind of partner. That's quite a repeat. When Jason takes a really good look at this pattern, and he starts to recognize what he is doing in order to bring this about, he realizes that he's caught in a rescue pattern. He keeps being attracted to and finding women who are damaged and distressed. He feels like in order to be wanted, in order to be valued, in order for anybody to want him instead of another partner, he has to swoop in as the hero. But when these women are acting like they're wanting him, they're not really wanting him. They're wanting rescue. So after he rescues them and they get on their feet again, what does he find out? These women are very different when they're healthy than they were when they were damaged and distressed. And when they're healthy, they're not actually compatible to him. They don't actually want the same things he wants. They don't actually want a partner like him. Last time Jason fell into this pattern, he could see clearly that even though he knew he was in this rescue dynamic, he did it anyway. He saw all the red flags that a woman was simply damaged and in distress and not really wanting him but was wanting rescue, but he was so desperate for a relationship no matter what that he dove right in and the cycle repeated yet again. What he wants is a woman who values and wants him and who is compatible to him. Looking deeply and consciously at this reality, he decides that he needs to focus on resolving the terribly low self-esteem that keeps driving him into this rescue pattern. So he begins to do work on his root trauma with a therapist and puts more energy into the things that boost his self-confidence, such as being disciplined about a healthy lifestyle, such as his career success, such as friendships with people who value him, as well as martial arts. He also decides that he will only date a woman who is mostly satisfied with her life, is committed to something that's important to her, and has close friends. Of course, he notices that when he thinks about being with a woman who basically has her life together, he suddenly feels like, oh no, I'm not good enough, that woman's not going to choose me, and there's no space in her life for me because she doesn't need me enough. More stuff to work on there. When he follows through, he finds that the pattern has truly changed. He ends up in a relationship with a woman named Claire. She values him and wants him and is compatible to him, and this time he can tell. One unwanted situation that multiple people are caught in can serve as an unwanted repeat experience for every single person involved. The specific different choice and different action that each person has to take in order to change the pattern that's repeating for them is so unique. Keep in mind that it could be different for one person in a specific pattern than it is for another person in what seems like the very same pattern. So here it is again. The universe and you can only really know if a pattern has changed. If it puts you in the exact same scenario, but this time you make a different choice. And by making a different choice, you change that pattern. This means the universe will put you in a repeat situation so as to give you the opportunity to make that different choice and to do that different thing, that obviously changes that pattern once and for all. So the only question you have left to ask yourself is, in this repeat scenario, what is it that you need to decide differently or do differently this time? Have a good week. If you liked this video, be sure to share it, like it, and also subscribe to my channel so you can see more content like this. But I want to personally thank you for taking the initiative and having the bravery to step into the space of awareness, not only for yourself, but for the benefit of those around you.